Hey guys, I'm a little bit late to the party with this video by a couple weeks, but I came home from work today and I thought now was a good time to finally kind of give my thoughts on the topic. And so I rewatched a few of the videos that have already been out about this and kind of made some notes here, so excuse me if I'm going to be looking down at my notes a bit, but I want to give you guys kind of a concise answer about my opinion on it. So anyway, let's get going. Basically, just to shout out the people who made videos about this before, I'll put links to their videos below. Dave Allen, Joe's Gunpla, and Justin at Justinius Builds. They all did videos about this, and I think all their points were good. I basically agree with everything that all of them said, especially Justin's. I think he made a lot of good points in his, but there's a few things that maybe I might word a little bit differently, or some other points that I wanted to make. So let's get into it. Basically, this all started, I mean, it was going on before, but I guess what prompted these guys to make their videos and what's really brought the subject kind of to the forefront recently is from a episode of Build Fighters Try, where one of the fighters said, "Know your place, snap fit." I haven't seen this episode. I haven't caught up that far. I'm still in the first season. But basically, so what some people were saying was that maybe they thought that like Bandai was trying to say some kind of message with that. I don't think Bandai was meaning to say anything by that. I think some people were saying that maybe it was Bandai trying to point out what's wrong with elitism in the community. I don't really think that Bandai really cares about that. Some people were trying to say that Bandai likes snapfitters because they spend more money and because they can go through kits more quickly. I don't think that really has much of anything to do with it either. I think, yes, of course, Bandai likes money. Of course, they're a company. But I don't think, as a company, I'm sure they don't really have any kind of opinion about that. Because one reason why I think a lot of people snap fit rather than doing more is because of the money or lack thereof money. I think, of course, this is not true for everyone, but probably a big reason that a lot of people only do snap fitting is because, let's face it, other supplies like paint and other stuff are expensive, and not everyone can afford that. Either students or whatever their situation, they can't afford it. So I don't think that that's exactly really anything to do with that point. The reason why I think it was in the show is because that's just kind of a common mindset. I think what was said is not right thing to say, and I think it was kind of rude to say, but I think that's how the character was portrayed in the show from what I understand. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but from what I understand, the character was just shown to be kind of a rude character, and he eventually lost the fight, and so I think that was really about it. But yeah, I think that's just a thought in the community that snap fit kits are of lower quality. And I think it makes sense for the character to say it in the show because, let's face it, in the Build Fighters world, kits that are of higher quality usually do better. Of course, the fighter's skills come into play, but of course a kit that has more customization and is made of a higher quality, of course, is going to perform better. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense that he would say that. It was the wrong thing to say, but I can understand why the writers of the show would write something like that into there, because it's not a very far-fetched thing. Anyway, so let's take a step back and talk about me personally for a minute. As I mentioned in my first video, my channel introduction that I made, I got into the hobby maybe 13 years ago, I guess. I don't know exactly because I don't remember, but something like that, I guess, when I was at that time about 13, I guess, something like that. And yeah, that was because I was living in America, and Gundam Wing, as well as some other series, were coming on TV at that time. So basically, at that time, my only source for information about Gundam model kits was just a couple of stores. There was a Gundam Store and More, and then just eBay. I'm sure there was others, but I didn't know at the time, so basically anything I wanted to know about what Gundam kits existed, or like what features some Gundam kits had, was basically just check those shop sites and just check the photos and just see what was there. And so from there, that's where I learned a lot about other Gundam series that I hadn't seen, but I'm seeing all these kits from these other series and thinking, wow, that looks cool, and then that led me to watch other series and really broaden my Gundam horizon. So as far as buying the kits, occasionally I would order some off eBay, but like I said, I was like 13, 14, 15 years old at that time, and so like I obviously didn't have a credit card, and my parents didn't buy that stuff for me. I was blessed with very great parents. I love my parents, but for the most part at that time in my life, from an early age in my life, they didn't really buy me a lot of like that kind of stuff, Gundam models, video games, a lot of that stuff I just did like kind of odd jobs, earn money and pay for myself. So it wasn't very easy to order stuff offline. So there was Toys R Us was one place where I probably bought most of my models at that time. But then of course Toys R Us eventually later stopped selling that stuff, at least at that time. So when I was first building model kits, I of course was a novice, and I was basically using a hobby knife for everything. I didn't use clippers. I just used the hobby knife, and like basically I would just like take the runner and just put the hobby knife where you're supposed to cut it and just kind of just like slice it there. And then I'd clean up the nub mark a bit with the hobby knife, like I still do a lot of the time, before getting it sanded and getting it better, but I still use the hobby knife for a lot of nub cleaning. And I did some pen aligning just with like a fine tip marker, and I used the foil stickers, and I tried painting a bit, just hand painting with some enamel at the time, but I wasn't really good at it. And I tried using some paint markers, but I just didn't like the look of it. I couldn't get it to be like a very even, which is why I usually tend to advise people not to use Gundam markers, because I think there's much better ways to do it. I think Gundam markers, it's really hard to get a good look with them. So yeah, and so I stopped using paint markers, and so that was basically it. What I was doing at that time, no like full-on painting of any kind, of course. And one thing, a little bit embarrassing to admit, but at that time I was new, I didn't know. One thing I would do to some kits sometimes is like take the just edge of the modeling knife and just like scrape it on the edge of a part, just like that. And if you do it a lot, it takes a really long time. But if you do it a lot, it of course takes the shine off of the kit, and it doesn't really look very good, but at least the kit is not shiny, and that's what I was going for at the time. Just I wanted my kits to have a more dull look. Of course at that time I didn't know about top coat, something like that. So yeah, that's what I was doing for a while. Of course I got out of modeling kind of for a while. I was still watching anime and stuff like that, Gundam anime, but I kind of got out of modeling for a while until later I came back to it. Kind of like what Justin said in his video, but I'll talk about that a bit more here in a bit later. Alright, but now fast forward to the modern times, and now these days Bandai is making a lot of kits that look really good straight out of the box, especially like with the RG line and a lot of the recent master grades. We're getting a lot of kits that look really fantastic with no extra work done to them, and I think that's great, that's cool. I'm really happy that we have a lot of really nice looking kits with very minimal work. But here's my argument, my opinion on the matter. So, first, I think that it's a lot about the vocabulary that we're using. I think to call this argument snapfitters versus painters is not even really the right words we should use, because we're talking about modelers who are doing a lot more than just painting. So to touch on a specific point that Joe made in his video, saying that there's painters, there's modifiers, and there's completionists. I think even those are not really the right terms to use, because obviously painters do more than just painting, modifiers do more than just modifying, because, you know, modifiers, they do painting and decaling, panel lining, all of that stuff is not modification, it's different, so just different word. And even completionist is not exactly the right word, because completionist, at least to me, kind of implies that there is a certain point where a model is complete. And I think that point is really not clear, because there are certain steps that can be omitted. You can complete a kit without actually doing any like customization or like altering the kit of any kind, just the painting and decaling and panel lining and that stuff. And a kit could be complete like that. So completionist is not exactly the right word either. I think basically what we're talking about is snapfitters versus modelers. And I can see how immediately that's probably raising a lot of red flags for people and maybe getting some people upset, because they don't like to be separated as a snapfitter and a modeler, because we're building models. So a lot of people will maybe think that because you're building a model, then you're automatically a modeler. But I think that's not exactly the case. I think building a model certainly labels you as a Gunpla builder, but a modeler is a bit different, and let me explain. When you look at a lot of modeling magazines and model websites, and even like Bandai's promotional material, most of the time they're showcasing completed model kits that's painted and everything done. They're usually not showcasing a model by showing a snap-fit version of the kit, because that's not complete. No. Obviously the kit is built, so to a certain extent it's complete in the fact that it's built, but the kind of skills and the kind of time that is involved and all the effort that is put into a painted and completed build, to say that that person is a modeler because they're putting all that time and effort into it, and then someone else who's just snap fitting it, and maybe it took them a lot of time to snap fit, maybe a couple days, even a week to snap fit a kit, if you're pretty slow about it or not committing a lot of time to it, it's still quite a different skill set and quite a different dedication, really. And to kind of lump them all together into the same label of modeler, I think is kind of, for the modelers who are doing a lot more work, it's kind of selling them a little bit short. But I think there is definitely good purpose for having, for being able to look at what a model kit looks like completely snap built with no work done. So like, for example, when I'm thinking about buying a kit, a lot of times I want to see what the model looks like without any work done to it, because then I can kind of know in my mind what I'm going to have to do to the kit to get it to that completed look. So there is certainly a need for seeing that stuff online, seeing stuff like, for example, there's a few Gunpla builders who showcase their stuff on YouTube, like Kakarot and Prime92, and even Jabman shows a lot of stuff that's not painted, but with decals and stuff. Anyway, of course those modelers do paint stuff as well, but they show what the kit looks like unpainted, and that's a useful resource. As well, there's also dalong.net, which is a great resource. If any of you don't know about Dalong, I'll put a link to that below as well. It's a great resource. So many questions that I see online could be answered by using that website. Just check it out, it's great. So yeah, so I think there is a difference between a snapfitter and a modeler, in my opinion. So do I think there is a right or wrong way to build a kit? No, I don't think that any one way is right or wrong. And I also don't think that when you buy a kit you have a kind of obligation to paint it and complete it. No, I don't think so. You're buying it with your own money, you do whatever you want with it. But I do think that as someone who's in the hobby, I kind of just wonder why you wouldn't try to push yourself, you know? Why not try new techniques? Why not try to make what you spent your money on, why not try to make it look better, you know, than just how it is? I mean, like I said, a lot of kits do look very good right out of the box, but why not try something to make it better? That I don't really understand. I think some of the steps, you know, not even painting, but some of the steps are really simple. I mean, removing nubs cleanly, sanding, just sanding nubs, removing seam lines is really easy. Panel lining is really easy. Even just doing some hand painting with just some enamel paint is really easy. And all of those things are not expensive either. The supplies for all of those techniques are relatively cheap, I think, really cheap. And don't take a whole lot of time or effort to learn and to put onto your kit. So I think especially those are just some things that are really basic that I think a lot of people could do, but maybe, you know, saying, yeah, I could do that, but I don't want to, doesn't really make sense to me. I could understand if you don't have time, okay, that's one thing. You really don't have any money to spare, I can understand that. Or you're just kind of nervous about making a mistake and ruining the kit that you spend your money on. I can understand that, but you're never going to get better unless you make some mistakes, so kind of there's not really any way around that. Mistakes are bound to happen. Another thing is photographing a kit and posing a kit. If you're gonna take the time to take a picture of your kit and post it online, take just a few minutes to put it in a decent pose, and take a few minutes to take a decent picture. You don't have to have like a super great like light box and DSLR to take a super high quality image. I mean, just have some decent light, have it not be blurry, take a decent photo, and get a decent pose. I mean, in any of these instruction manuals, all you have to do is take a look at some of the poses that, just for an example here, that Bandai's including in all of their manuals. You've got some examples. All you have to do is just look at the picture and just try to recreate something like that. Not all that difficult, it only takes a few minutes, and it makes your kit look a lot better. A lot of times, you could see a kit online that's painted and done very nice, but if the pose is bad, then it just looks bad. It doesn't look good, so that's important as well. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, I realize supplies cost money, especially paint and an airbrush setup, and not a lot of people have that money to spend, so yeah, I understand that point. As I mentioned about the few things like panel lining, removing seam lines, sanding nubs, There's tons of resources online, tutorials how to do that. I'm planning on making my own series of tutorials later, maybe in the next couple months, just to show you guys kind of what I do for my kits. And I think the ways that I'll show you will be very economical. Like I said, some of this stuff is not that expensive, but it can have a big effect. And just the hobby in general, I think when you come into the hobby, when you kind of, it shouldn't take long for you to realize that it's not a cheap hobby. The models are not really cheap, supplies are not really cheap. Compared to many other things, I think they're really not that expensive. But it's something that you know is something you're going to have to be spending some money on. It's not like if your hobby is cycling, then you buy a bike and you're pretty much set. I mean, you can go off that for a long time. Being in the Gunpla hobby, we're buying models a lot, buying supplies a lot. It's something that you have to constantly spend money on, so it's something that you just kind of have to live with if it's something that you want to do. You have to expect to be paying some money for it. So, I mean, for me, one reason why I kind of fell out of the hobby, like I said, why I kind of took a break for a little while, was because I was a student, a high school student, and then university student. I didn't have a lot of time, didn't have a lot of money, so I really couldn't do a whole lot of Gunpla there for a while. But now, I have a full-time job, I've got a girlfriend, I've got other hobbies that I do, I've got tons of student loan debt, but, Gunpla is what I really, really enjoy doing, so, I have to just kind of live with that and just try to do the best with what I can. And, like, for example, I don't have an airbrush set up yet, and that's because I just haven't had the money or haven't put aside the money to get that. So I'm still inexperienced when it comes to that, but I'm building my techniques in other areas. Like now I'm working on all this custom building, so right now I don't need an airbrush for that. So there's always ways that you can improve. And then I get that some people just want to collect, and of course an easy answer to that would be just collect figures. But figures are more expensive, and a lot of people, I get that they want to actually build it themselves. That's part of the collecting. Yeah, they want to collect, but they want to be able to build what they're collecting as well. So that makes sense. I understand that. So I understand the people who just want to collect, and but like I said, that's just something different. That's not modeling, in my opinion. But ultimately, I think the best model kit is just whatever you're happy with. Of course, it's something that you're spending your money on. You do whatever you want with it, and if you're happy with the result, then that's all that really matters. And honestly, that's the honest truth. Is what whatever you have, whatever you're happy with, is fine. That's good, and no one should tell you you're wrong for that. Of course. But I think that there is a difference between a model that is snap fit or out-of-box built and a model that is complete. I think a out-of-box snap fit built kit is not complete, in my opinion. And by making a kit complete just means making it your own, making it unique. When you snap fit a kit and don't do anything to make it unique in any way, then it's not any different from the hundreds of thousands of other kits that were made by Bandai. Really, the only way that you're completing the kit is by making it your own in some way. That doesn't have to be going the whole 9 yards of painting and weathering and decaling and doing all this extra work. I'm not saying that, just saying it unique. I'm just saying making it unique in some way. Then that makes it something that's totally yours. And that's something to take pride in. I think that that's one reason why there's this this whole problem in the first place, and why what makes some people become elitists is because they take a lot of pride in what they do. And I think there's nothing wrong with pride to a degree, because, you know, when we're taking the time to do all this stuff to a model and making it totally customized and everything like that, yeah, I take a certain amount of pride in that. And to say that my model that I've spent tons and tons of hours on and someone else's model who they spent a few hours on just snap fitting it are of the same value, I think, you know, obviously that's gonna be a little bit of like a slap in the face to me, or to, you know, someone else who's spent a lot of time on their kit, because like obviously that kit's gonna have a little bit higher value, because, you know, time is important. Time is of the highest value, some would say. So yeah, I think there is a difference there, and I can see why some people would be angry about that. But of course, there's when you're making a kit your own, you know, that doesn't always make it great or bad. I've seen completed kits that I didn't personally like at all. I thought they were really ugly, or just not to my liking at all, but that's just personal taste. That doesn't really have anything to do with it. Anyone who's, you know, going through all the time to really complete a kit, I'm gonna respect that kit, of course. But it just might be different from what I personally would do for mine when it comes to, you know, colors or customization or like decals and stuff like that. Everyone's got their different taste, and that's fine. If everyone's making everything exactly the same, then it wouldn't really be very interesting. So yeah, I've got a lot of kits snap fit, and ultimately I'm not saying there's anything wrong with snap fitting, like I've been saying the whole time. There's nothing wrong with doing whatever you want to do with a kit. Especially on my channel recently, if you've watched a lot of my recent videos, I've done a lot of just unboxing and out-of-box build reviews, and just showing you guys what the kits look like out of box. But that's just because a lot of my time has really been devoted just to like working on this custom project, and I just want to keep showing you guys new stuff, just keep my channel fresh with a lot of new videos. So, you know, sometimes I need to take a break from doing like more heavy work, and, you know, it's just fun, relaxing to just snap a kit. So I'll just snap it and show it to you guys just to give you something to watch. But in my mind, those kits aren't complete at all. I've just got them snapped and built, and then they're just tucked away for now until later. When I have the time and I'm ready to work on that particular kit, then I'll go back and finish the kit. So yeah, that's just what I've been doing. But I do have kits that are not really complete by my own previously mentioned definition of complete. Like a few of the RGs that I've built, I'm done with them. I didn't paint them. I did like some detail painting, a little bit of like hand painting, but they're not fully painted or weathered or anything like that. But those kits I felt were complete enough for me at that time, you know, and like I said, that's fine. But looking back, I don't really consider them my best work, because they're not. I know I could have done better on those kits, but just at that time, that's all I really felt like doing on the kit, and that was it. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't care what you do. I don't care what other people do with their kits. I don't expect other people to judge what I do on my kits. I don't expect other people to judge what other people do on their kits. It's wrong to judge people for anything. Yeah, everyone knows it's wrong to act superior to someone because of something. Now, when it comes to superiority between two models, I think you can definitely say that a painted completed model is superior to a snap fit model. For the modeler to act superior and say something like, your model that you built is just junk and mine is amazing, of course that's the wrong thing to say, and it's just rude and demeaning. But like I've been saying, obviously a kit that's done is, of a little bit higher value. Now just one last thing. This has been going on too long already. The last thing I want to talk about is that, yes, in this video I've been trying to give you my honest opinion on everything, and I've tried to cover, all the bases, all the points that I wanted to cover. Yes, I'm trying not to insult anyone because I don't want to be demeaning to anyone. I'm not trying to say that snap fitters are less of a person than a modeler. I'm not saying that snap fitters don't deserve to be in the hobby. I'm not saying anything like that. And of course I'm no authority on Gunpla modeling. Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time, kind of, but I wouldn't consider myself better than anyone. Of course I have a bit more skills than some, but there's a lot of people that are a lot better than me. So, just take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. It's just my own opinion. I don't look down on anyone, especially because I realize that we all have to start somewhere. Like I said, when I first started, I wasn't doing things the correct way, even though there's really not even any correct way to do anything. I had to start somewhere, and everyone else has to start somewhere too. So yeah, I think that it's great that we have a community online. There's lots of online communities now where people can go to get information, to ask questions, to learn, to grow, to build their knowledge about Gundam and about Gunpla building, about modeling. I think that's a really great thing that we have. And it's great that the newcomers to the hobby can go to those places, and there's people there with a lot more experience that can answer their questions and that can help them. That's something that I didn't have, or at least I didn't know about when I first started. So that's good. But that being said, I just want to kind of be blunt for a moment and maybe speak on the behalf of maybe some other people in the groups. Especially in Facebook, there are some groups that I know some of the questions that some people ask can be a bit annoying, maybe especially for those who have had more experience in the hobby, they've been around a little bit more. Some of the questions posed by beginners or just people asking some certain questions can be a bit annoying, and I'll never put someone down. I'll never make fun of someone or be mean to anyone or be rude to anyone for asking these type of questions, because like I said, I realize that everyone's new at some point, and it's just not cool to be like that. So I'm trying to be understanding, but just to take a minute now to answer a lot of questions that I see online. These are questions that get asked quite frequently, and of course, if I really hated seeing these questions, I could leave the group or I could block certain people and stuff like that. But just to take a moment to answer a lot of the questions that people ask, I'm going to take a minute now and answer those for you. So, here's some questions that personally can be a little bit annoying for me sometimes, and other people I know as well. One of them would be, which kit should I buy? The answer to that is whatever kit you want. Look online at what kits are available, what kits are currently being produced, find one that you like, and buy it. and find one that's, of course, to your liking and in your price range, of course. Think about what you want and just buy it. If you have a specific question about kit recommendations, then ask something specifically. Don't just say, what kit should I buy? Or like, what's a good MG kit? What's a good MG kit is asking for someone's opinion. I could say, oh, I think the Banshee is a good MG kit. Someone else might say, oh, it's not a good kit because of the limited posability. It's just totally a matter of opinion. So it doesn't really mean a whole lot. Another version of that question is asking, which kit is better, this one or this one? Again, that's totally up to your opinion. Just buy whichever kit you think looks better for you, or buy whichever kit you can afford, or just wait till you can afford both and buy them both, or buy one now and then buy the other one later. That kind of question just doesn't really have a whole lot of purpose. Another one is asking about what kind of features or gimmicks or weapons or things like that are included with a kit. What comes with a certain kit. There's plenty of resources online to see that for yourself. Like one of the websites I mentioned, dalong.net, it's actually a Korean site. It's run by a Korean guy, but it's easy enough to manage. All you have to do is just see the menu at the top, MG, RG, PG, HG, like that. Just go to whichever group you're looking for, scroll down the pictures, find the model you're looking for, and you can see tons of photos of the kit. You can see everything about it. Of course, all the text information is in Korean. If you really wanted, you could pop that into a translator and get a really bad, goofy translation, but you can tell whatever you need to find from the pictures. So everything's there, along with plenty of other resources, other YouTubers, and things like that. Asking which kit is good for a beginner. This question, again, is very difficult to answer, and all you're going to get is people's opinion, and there is no answer for that question. In my opinion, for a beginner, you can get basically any kit that you want. The steps for building a Gundam model are exactly the same for HG, PG, RG, MG, RE. It's going to be, you've got the runner, everything's labeled with letters and numbers. If you can look at the instruction and see the letters and numbers there, just cut that piece and put it together as it's shown very clearly in the instructions, and that's it. The steps are exactly the same for every grade, so there's really, in my opinion, no difference in difficulty between levels. Yeah, some have more pieces, but it just means repeating essentially the same steps more times. So that doesn't really make it more difficult, it just makes it more time consuming. Another question is, that I've seen a lot, especially recently, is which do you use first, decals or top coat? This is not really a bad question, but it's just the frequency of this question and other questions like this that I see. This is just one of those questions that, like I said, is not bad because you're asking for help about something specific, and usually someone will give an answer really quickly. But this is just something that there's so many resources in videos and blogs, and if you just use Google for about 2 minutes, I'm sure you could find the answer really quickly without having to ask on the blog. But there are no stupid questions, right? But just some things I think you could just find out on your own. And then another thing is just posting photos of a completed snap build kit, or posting like work in progress photos of a snap build of a kit without posing any sort of question or anything. It's kind of like, like what am I supposed to do with these pictures of this out-of-box built kit? Like, congratulations, good job that you bought and built the kit, but I don't really know what you're trying to say or what you're asking by posting that if you don't ask a question or say something specific. So there's that. And also posting pictures of backlog. Sometimes it kind of just looks like you're showing off. Of course, a lot of people have a lot of kits in their backlog. If you really want to show off all the kits that you have, say something like, hey, let's start a backlog thread. Post pictures of your backlog, something like that, just like for fun if you just want to see what people have. Otherwise, if you just post a picture of your backlog and say, hey, look at these kits I've got, it's kind of like, oh, congratulations, good for you, you got a lot of kits. Like, I don't know. It's like, I think it's cool to see what people have sometimes, and a lot of times when people have stuff that like I want, especially like limited stuff, yeah, it makes me jealous, because I'm like, oh, send me that kit, or whatever. But it also just kind of looks like you're just trying to show off. So that's it, guys. This video has gone on much longer than I planned. Even though I made notes, I thought it would be pretty quick, but it's pretty long, so sorry about that. But I hope I've made my point clear, and I hope I've maybe given you guys something to think about in terms of, kind of trying to understand a little bit as to maybe how some people are thinking about the topic. At the end of the day, the point that everyone's been trying to make in their videos for this is just be cool, don't put anyone down, don't be rude to anyone. And of course, really that should just go without saying. It's kind of sad that some people are making people feel bad about what they like to do. Of course, that's wrong. It doesn't really take, a genius or a saint to say that someone's wrong for making someone else feel bad for something that they did. But there is kind of a lot to consider in kind of defining these terms. And really, personally, I hate labeling anything. I hate to be labeled. I hate to label other people as anything. But that's kind of the whole point of the argument. I think that people are having trouble with labels, how to label others, and really, we're all in the same hobby. We're all fans of Gundam, and so that's the one thing that connects us all in that. But of course, there's difference when it comes to the actual modeling procedure. It's like people making the argument saying that, like, these days everyone thinks they're a photographer because we've got phone apps like Instagram or something like that you can alter your photos, and like everyone's got a camera now in their phone, so everyone thinks they're a photographer. I can see how, people who are like real photographers, like professional photographers, can maybe be, feel like their toes are being a bit stepped on when, some, high school girl is calling herself a photographer when she's like going around taking Instagram photos. It's just different, from people. When people have spent years and a lot of time and effort and money to do something, I can see why they would be upset for that skill to be compared with something that is much more simple. So yeah, that's about it, guys. I'll end this video here. Just want to say thank you for watching. If you stuck through this video to the end, thanks a lot for watching. Leave some comments below. Like I said, coming up in the future, I am planning to do a series of tutorials, even though I think there's tons of great tutorials online already. I just thought I'll give my 2 cents as well, so I'll be doing those. I'm actually planning to do a lot of work on my channel to really make it like more professional into like the content that I'm giving to you guys. I think I got a really positive response for my Gunpla news video that I made a couple weeks ago. So I'm really glad that a lot of people were really kind of happy to see that. So I'm definitely going to be continuing that series, and I've even considered making it a twice a month thing, not even once a month, but like every couple weeks, because we're kind of always getting at least a little bit of news. And so I'm going to be continuing that. Lots more stuff to unbox and show you guys. I've got some kits coming in the mail in the near future that I'll be showing you guys. More work in progress and kind of stuff going on with this custom build that I'm hoping to be completing sometime soon, because honestly I want to work on some other kits. I'm a little bit tired of working on this kit, but I just want to get it finished so I can be done with it. But that being said, I don't want to kind of do a rushed or like half-assed job on it. I want to do it well, but I just want to be done with it. Anyway, so thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.